Water Peace and Security Partnership has developed a global early warning tool that allows to analyze conflict hotspots around the world. The tool generates a forecast of the likelihood of existing and emerging conflict in Africa, the Middle East, and portions of Asia. It does so by identifying places around the world where 10 or more fatalities per month are forecasted, based on the parameters of the ACLED datasets, which stands for Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, plus other input variables, both biophysical and socioeconomic, derived from publicly available datasets. Keeping in mind that our goal is to foster timely, effective, and informed water-related interventions to mitigate conflict and build peace, this tool only represents the initial step of a broader process. It helps to pinpoint hotspots, to compare different regions of interest, and explore the underlying data. But after a hotspot has been identified, a regional analysis is required to examine the links between water and human responses and identifying causal relationship that needs to be localized and time-bound that can in turn support interventions of mobilization, capacity development, and dialogue. As mentioned in the previous segments, the relationship between water and conflict is complex, context-specific, and highly debated. There are multiple dynamic factors contributing to conflict, often with different impacts from a specific situation or a specific region to another. For example, water-related tensions can happen where there is water scarcity, but also where there is enough or abundant water. Because of this complex and dynamic nature, it is in fact very difficult to generalize and predict conflict through the weighting of the factors alone. The Global Early Warning tool then tries to overcome this challenge by using a so-called supervised machine learning model. It works by analyzing a range of socioeconomic and environmental variables, including, of course, water indicators, to identify patterns of correlation with conflict. Based on this model, the tool then generates projections of existing and emerging conflict. We will discuss further about this in the second video. For now, it's important to understand that this process does not define what a particular variable causes conflict and why, but can predict the existence of conflict based on correlation patterns. A bit like using a thermometer when you feel ill. It tells you whether you have a temperature, but cannot really say what is causing it.
The forecast conflict is defined as regions with 10 or more fatalities over a 12-month span. These events include political violence and protest at a local scale. Now, this definition of conflict is specific to the Global Early Warning Tool and does not represent violent conflict discussed through other phases of the Water, Peace, and Security approach. Data for historic conflicts is derived from the Armed Conflict Location and Event dataset, which includes a range of conflict categories as seen on the screen. The conflict predictions are then presented in an interactive tool that's hosted on the Water, Peace, and Security Project website. The Global Early Warning Tool displays the conflict predictions, as well as dozens of other data sets that can help the user better understand global social, economic, political, demographic, and natural resource conditions. Now, some of these data sets serve as inputs for the model, while others simply provide important contextual information. All data are presented in high resolution at the administrative level 2, or one step below states or provinces. The conflict forecasts are updated quarterly based on the most recent data and enable hotspots to be identified in a timely fashion. This is meant to mobilize action, to verify whether conflict is indeed occurring or if there's a heightened risk, and if so, explore the causes of this conflict or heightened risk and address it. This lesson will introduce you to the Global Early Warning Tool and help you explore how you can use it within the greater Water, Peace, and Security framework. The lesson will also explain the process of tool development and enable users to understand the tool's limitations. The learning objectives of this lesson are to explain how the Global Early Warning Tool fits within the WPS framework and what the next steps are to address water conflict, understand how the conflict forecast is generated and updated, discuss how water is analyzed within the Global Early Warning Tool, and how this connection aligns with the understanding established in Lesson 1, And finally, engage in how to use the Global Early Warning Tool and be aware of its limitations. These questions will be addressed in the following videos, which describe how the tool was created and how it can be applied. The readings supplement this process by broadening the understanding of conflict predictions. And finally, the activities will provide you with the opportunity to interact with the Global Early Warning Tool.